Hello and welcome to another edition of Fours and Sixes with me, Swaroop Swaminathan. First up, I would like to apologize for the video not being uploaded over the last few days. Had some technical glitches while I was at Vizag. On that note, I am back in Chennai right now, and then Gomesh, our senior cricket writer, will be doing the next three tests, beginning at the one with Rajkot in 9 or 10 days' time. Before we look ahead to the rest of the series, I would like to welcome Gomesh to the show. Welcome.
Thank you.
Just before we touch upon how the series is headed, just your thoughts on the opening two games.
I think it has lived up to the expectations and the reputation, the hype that was there in the lead up to the series. There were questions over whether England's method will work in India, whether they'll be able to, put up a fight or put on a show and play the same way they did. And they did, and it worked. In the first match, they registered a win. India were under the pump, and through sheer individual brilliance of Jaiswal, Bumrah, and Gill, they're back on track and really excited to see how the next game goes.
Uh, Anything that really struck your eye was I mean, India knew what England were going to be all about,
Yeah.
right? But did it just look like India perhaps thought that this methods wouldn't work in India?
I think most of us thought that. Even
I-
we,
to-
we were,
yeah,
even to be
yeah.
fair, you and I were saying that.
But then again, they're not paid big bucks to analyze teams.
That's true, but at the same time, we are paid to be watching and writing about it. So we also got it wrong in that sense. So I think it has come as a surprise, but it is also worked because I think the first test India were caught off guard a little, especially with the way they batted. They didn't expect the England team to bat as well as they did in the third innings. The dismissals throughout the first innings in Hyderabad were soft. India were trying to attack, and they were, to an extent, they were trying to play like England and got out at some level without putting up a big score.
Yeah.
And they corrected that, like the way Gill batted in the second innings, and Vizag was exactly how an Indian batter,
He was out three
yeah.
times before getting to 30.
Yeah, but still, I mean, end of the day, the scorecard is the scorecard, right? Like what happened in 2016, like good pitches, but you see Pujara score big hundreds, you see Kohli score big hundreds every single match, and that's how they win test matches on good wickets. And they did that right in Vizag.
The one thing that really, I mean, obviously the nature of the pitches has been really, really good compared to what we had for the majority of the last 2-3 years. The one thing that really hit me was how Tom Hartley, Rehan Ahmed, and even somebody like Joe Root, Shoaib Bashir, is it fair to say they've outbowled Indian spinners? I mean, at least for me, it looked like they did.
I mean, you can, but at the same time, I think the expectations on Indian spinners are really, really high, especially when you throw in the names of Ravindra Jadeja and R. Ashwin. Like every time they walk into an Indian Test match, home test, they are expected to take 5 wickets, and that's the level where they play it. And
but I think it's fair to say that the expectation is that they have to outperform Tom Hartley,
Yeah.
Rehan Ahmed, Shoaib Bashir, Joe Root, and they have not.
They have not so far, but I think the way Ashwin bowled in Vizag was much better than what he did in Hyderabad. Even when he went wicketless, I think he was bowling really well. The second innings was the same. I think the whole expectation was on whether Ashwin will do well, and if he does well, India will have a chance at victory. And he gave India the 3 crucial wickets. Bumrah came in and cleaned it up, but it was Ashwin who took Pope and Joe Root and Ben Duckett, if I'm not wrong. So even more pressure on Ashwin, because if he had closed out the 500th wicket milestone, which is expected to happen in Rajkot, now even more pressure on Ashwin. If Ravindra Jadeja doesn't come back, there will be even more pressure on Ashwin. And what I'm more interested to see is how Rohit approaches as a captain tactically, because there were a lot of talk about the in and out fields, a lot of spread out fields that he had kept throughout the fourth innings in both matches. You were there. How do you look at the way Rohit is captain in these 2 test matches, and do you see any changes going forward?
I mean, it's interesting, right? I mean, I remember exactly what Pat Cummins did first ball of the Ashes in England here at deep point.
Yeah.
And that's one way of tackling Bazball. You drive runs, you drive the boundaries, but because they will continue to play, that's one way of being proactive. You do not react to where the ball goes. You set fields that you know what they're all about.
Yeah.
Something that Rohit perhaps did not anticipate was the sweeps and the reverse sweeps. We knew that Oli Pope coming in was going to do that. You know that Ben Duckett against the spin, automatically spin was going to be an option. You know Zach Crowley likes to use his feet, bang bang, long off and long on.
Yeah.
You did not see any of those fields, and then for some weird reason Rohit went too defensive.
Yeah.
Like and then even with the bat, I remember the Rahul Dravid PC yesterday when he said that at no point did they feel like they want to take the game forward, and this is when they were leading by 350 runs
Yeah.
with 5 wickets in hand.
Yeah.
Like if you're not going to be comfortable enough taking the game forward when you're leading by that much, when will you ever feel comfortable? So some of the things that I want to see going forward in the series is that a bit more proactiveness from Rohit. He began a couple of sessions with bowlers who wouldn't normally be expected to take wickets.
Like for example, he didn't start with Ashwin in the
the
new ball.
Yeah, that kind of baffled me, and then apart from that, if you're going to be conceding sixes, long off, long on, doesn't matter. I mean, you tell your bowlers, I will back you. You ask the batsman to clear the man in the infield. That's just classic Test match captaincy. If you're going to be defensive, at least be defensive like Cummins. You place your fielders, boundary riders, square of the wicket. You opened one avenue for wicket taking, and I didn't see much of that in both the first two tests. He went extremely defensively too early, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I don't think I had too much of qualms. But then again, with Bazball, the essential nature of Bazball means that you cannot really afford to have too many close in fielders. That will be another big challenge for the Indian spinners going forward. I don't think they tackle that challenge particularly well. So those are the things that I would look forward to when the caravan goes to Rajkot and Ranchi and Dharamshala. What are you most looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to watch Jasprit Bumrah bowl. You were there. You should tell.
I mean, he was just outstanding, man. Like, I mean, words cannot do justice anymore, which is kind of awkward because I'm supposed to write words to do justice, but he's just.
I'm going to go ahead and put my foot down and say he's probably the most complete all-format bowler ever.
So,
because it's unfair, you can't compare eras because a lot of them have not played different formats, but in what we have right now in this sport, is there a more complete all-format bowler?
So there's this interesting tweet that I saw from ClickWiz, one of the guys who works at ClickWiz.
Ben Jones.
Yeah, Ben Jones. And I think he nailed the tweet to perfection. He basically said that a lot of people say that, I mean, I'm really paraphrasing here. So a lot of people say that Jasprit Bumrah is an all-format bowler. The thing is, I think what makes Jasprit Bumrah great is that he is probably the best bowler in all the three formats, and there's a huge difference between both. You can say that Mitchell Stark is an all-format bowler, but Bumrah is probably the best in all the three formats, and that is just mental.
Yeah. And which is exactly why that's the one thing I look forward to the most.
Apart from that,
I'm also excited because it'll be the first test I cover from ground, so I'm excited for that. Apart from that, there are a lot of things to look forward to. Anderson 700 wicket. I mean, watching Anderson bowl as well, it's insane. When
Anderson was doing what he did, I think it was the third morning when he removed Jaiswal and Rohit. I think was it the third morning? I think it was the third morning of Vizag. One person sitting inside the press box asked me, "Where do you see yourself at 41?" And I was like, "Definitely not that." Yeah. Interesting. And again, just a 3-match shoot off. Now, as always, we'll end this show with prediction. I think England might have one more somewhere because the way they have played and without. If KL Rahul doesn't. Root and Basto have made absolutely no runs. This is a bonus. If KL Rahul doesn't come back and if Kohli doesn't come back, there is a lot of pressure on Rohit Sharma and the other players, and somewhere England might sneak in one more win. But I think in the fortunes of India will largely depend on how it goes in Rajkot. Interesting. That's all for another edition of Fours and Sixers. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Stay safe.